Hi friends, how are you all? So we come to the last part of this lesson today, and as we said in the last class, we shall begin with Antyodaya Anna Yojana, which is meant for the poorest of the poor. It is to help the poorest of the poor. You can take page number 50. So AAY, Antyodaya Anna Yojana, launched in December 2000. Under the scheme, 1 crore of the poorest among the BPL families covered under the targeted public distribution system were identified. So there were many people who are considered as below poverty line. So among that below poverty line, again those who are very miserable condition, very poor people were identified. Almost 1 crore people were identified. So by giving this BPL card, they cannot get much benefit. So they need some extra care by the government. These 1 crore people were identified and they will be given some extra care, extra food so that they can also come up in their life. That was the purpose of the government. Then, poor families were identified by the respective state rural development departments through below poverty line survey. And 25 kilograms of food grains were made available to each eligible family at a highly subsidized rate of 2 rupees per kg for wheat and 3 rupees 3 rupees per kg for rice. So these 1 crore families were identified and they were distributed rice and wheat for a very low price. Wheat price was just 2 rupees and the rice price was just 3 rupees per kg. So they were provided with such a low price. And this quantity has been enhanced from 25 to 35 kgs with effect from April 2002. So it was started in 2000 and in 2002 government made it more. Instead of 25 kg they can buy 35 kg. 10 more kg they can buy extra. And the scheme has been further expanded twice by additional 50 lakh BPL families in June 2003. So afterwards government found out there are still more poor families are there. Therefore 50 lakh more families were added to this scheme and they were also available. They were also allowed to buy food grains at this lower price. And with this increase, 2 crore families have been covered under AAY. So in the beginning it was 1 crore family. Then in 2003 government added 50 lakhs families more. So it became 1.5 crore. Then another year in 2004 government added again 50 lakhs families more. So 1.5 plus half. So total 2 crore families are benefiting from this AAY scheme. So that is a great work that government has done for the poorest of the poor, identifying the most poor people in the society and providing them 35 kg of grain, rice and wheat at a very low price. Wheat for 2 rupees and rice for 3 rupees. Very cheap rate, and government made it available. So that was a real great program for the poor people. Then in July 2002, the stock of wheat and rice with FCI was 63 million tons, which was much more than the minimum buffer norms of 24.3 million tons. So we said the last class we saw the government had collected or gathered food grains that are much more than needed according to the rule that government should have this much of collection gathering, but government was much higher than more than what was required. So there was so much of extra food grains were collected, gathered in the FCI storerooms. Then the stock eased after 2002-2003 due to relief operations under undertaken by the government, as the year was declared as drought year due to failure of monsoon. So in the year 2002-2003, the monsoon was not regular, it had failed. Therefore, government declared that year as a drought hit year because farmers could not cultivate because of the lack of rain and so. So this grain that was collected and kept, that became very handy for the government to supply to these poor people. And the decline in stocks continued in subsequent years. However, these remain consistently higher than the buffer norms. So as we see in the graph, we see the red line is coming down and down. That means over the years, government is reducing to buy the food grains from the farmers. But always more than what is required is there. Government is making sure that the the required amount is low and the procured amount, the amount that is collected, is much higher. And the situation improved with the distribution of food grains under different schemes launched by the government. And there is a general consensus that high level of buffer stocks of food grains is very undesirable and can be wasteful. So in the beginning, government was buying plenty of food grains, and afterwards it is coming down and down because government has realized collecting and keeping too much of food grain, it is a waste. It can get spoiled. We cannot preserve it for too long, so it gets spoiled. Because of that, government changed the policy and reduced the amount of food grain by what is required, and little more than what is required government is collecting, but not too much. Then the storage of massive food stocks has been responsible for high carrying costs, in addition to wastage and deterioration in grain quality. So when they are buying so much of extra food grain, they have to collect it from the farmers, they have to go and collect from the village and so on. And that way it is costing a lot of transportation expenses. So government reduced carrying the food grains. And also it can be wasted. So we collect plenty of food grains, and there may not be required, all that may not be required for distribution. Therefore, that will remain there and wasted for next year, it will be getting spoiled. And freezing of MSP for a few years should be considered seriously. Therefore, government should consider that MSP, giving the minimum support price to the farmers, government should freeze it. Freeze it means suspend it for some time. Then when it is needed, government can continue to buy again from the farmer. So since there is enough and more food grains are there in the storeroom, if government is not buying for few years also, it is not a problem. Then the increased food grains procurement at enhanced MSP is the result of the pressure exerted by leading food grain producing states such as Punjab, Haryana and Andhra Pradesh. So the reason behind why government is going on buying more than what is required, collecting and giving so much extra, it is because the rich farmers in Punjab, Haryana and Andhra Pradesh, they are putting pressure on the government. They are making buy the grain, otherwise we will not cultivate. So they are threatening the government, we can say. Because of that, government is buying. So these states like Haryana and Punjab, they are producing plenty, therefore they wanted by all means government to buy. Otherwise the farmers will suffer a loss. That's why the government is going on buying under pressure from them. Then moreover, as the procurement is concentrated in a few prosperous regions like Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, and to a lesser extent West Bengal, and mainly of two crops, that is wheat and rice, increase in MSP has induced farmers, particularly in surplus states, to divert land from production of coarse grains, which is a staple food of the poor, to the production of rice and wheat. So another problem is that government has announced minimum support price for two grains, that is for wheat and rice. So if you go and cultivate potato, government has not promised I will buy potato from you. No, government has said we will buy two grains, either wheat or rice. That is a promise of the government. So these farmers who were cultivating wheat and other coarse grains like chana, butter, all those things, they stopped all that because government is not buying this one, so we shall not plant this one. So they also started planting rice and wheat. So everybody started cultivating rice and wheat. All others stopped cultivating vegetables, beans, the barley, all those things they stopped. And so the poor people were buying these things and eating. So it is no more available in the market because people stopped cultivating that. And everybody is buying, everybody is cultivating only rice and wheat. So that was another problem. So too much of grains, food grains were there, and other coarse grains, the hard grains, that was no more cultivated. And the intensive utilization of water in the cultivation of rice has also led to environmental degradation and fall in the water level. So the people who cultivate rice, it needs lot of water. Earlier we studied about what are the requirements for the cultivation of rice. It needs a lot of water, irrigation is there. So when there is no monsoon rain, people started making well and pumping out water from the well. So it's going on pumping out the groundwater, and therefore the groundwater level is going down and down. That will affect the drinking water. The people's well all will become dry. So that is another problem. And threatening the sustainability of the agriculture development in this state. So if this groundwater level is going deeper and deeper because of overuse, what will happen? Afterwards, people will not be able to cultivate them. They will not be able to get the water because water level has gone down and down, very level. So it is threatening the future cultivation in that state. So that is another thing that government need to take care in order to improve the situation. Then there's a little small column is given there in the corner bottom. The rising minimum support price have raised the maintenance costs of procuring food grains by the government. Rising transportation and storage costs of the FCI are other contributing factors in this increase. So the minimum support price have raised the maintenance costs of procuring food grains and the government. So now the minimum support price is rising. Farmers are demanding more money for their grains, and therefore it has increased the expense of the government. And government has to pay also money for the rent for this godowns. The FCI godown may not be built by the government, it may be built by some private people, and the government may be hiring it. So every year will have to pay the rent, or every month will have to pay the rent. So that way, that is the price or the expense of the government is increasing. So these are some of the things that government is facing the problem as they are supporting the poor people, as they are working for the poor people. Then another major area of concern is the market ineffectiveness of PDS, which is apparent from the fact that the average consumption of PDS grain at the all India level is only 1 kg per person per month. So government is giving 25 kg, 35 kg per month, but when we see there is so much of consumption is not there. One person is eating only 1 kg per month. So 25 kg or 35 kg is not required. One person is eating. That is, many people are not buying. Maybe the quality is very poor. Or maybe they have now money in their hands, so they go to the market and buy with which is good quality or high quality and so on. So people are not preferring to buy from PDS shops. And the average consumption figure is as low as less than 300 grams per person per month in the states of Bihar, Orissa and Uttar Pradesh. So some states they are not even reaching 1 kg. One person is eating only 300 grams per month. So 1 month one person is buying only that much, 300 grams, especially in the states Bihar, Orissa and Uttar Pradesh. That means they have some other source, they don't need to depend anymore on this. That means they are becoming rich, they have money to buy things. So in contrast, the average consumption in most of the southern states like Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Himachal Pradesh is in the range of 3.4 kgs per person per month. But the southern states like Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Himachal Pradesh, they are buying more from PDS. They buy 3 kg, 4 kg per person for a month. As a result, the poor have to depend on markets rather than the ration shops for their food needs. And in Madhya Pradesh, only 5% of wheat and rice consumption of the poor are made through ration shops. So maybe these things are bought by other people, and therefore the poor people are not able to get it. When they go to the ration shop, the shopkeeper will say it is finished, no more. So the poor people are not able to get it, and the other maybe middle class people are just buying and going. Maybe they are going and selling it in the outside and making profit and so on. Then in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, the percentage is still lower. So in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, we can see the people who are buying or people who are getting this PDS wheat and rice, they are much lower. Then the PDS dealers are sometimes found resorting to malpractices like diverting the grains to open market to get better margin. So there are also problems with regard to the shopkeepers. The shopkeepers who are in the PDS shop, what do? They do malpractice, they do corruption. What do? Instead of bringing the things and distributing to the poor people, what will they do? They will sell it to outside shops. They will get higher price. If they give to the people, they will give only 2 rupees, 3 rupees and so on. So they will sell it in the market, they will get 10 rupees, 15 rupees per kg. So there will be a lot of profit for them. So they do some kind of malpractice. So the officers have to check and punish those who are doing malpractice. Then and selling poor quality grains at ration shops. Another thing that they do is, the good thing that they will sell it outside and they will collect some poor, spoiled, rotten grain and bring and sell it in the ration shop. That is another corruption that they are doing. Then irregular opening of the shops. So people may be coming from far away village to buy rice, and when they reach there, the shop is not open, the shopkeeper is not there. So poor fellow, they have to go back again. They may be very old people, with much difficulty they are walking and coming all this distance, and so they need to be regular. The shopkeepers should have to open the shops very regularly, otherwise the poor people will continue to suffer. And it is common to find that ration shops regularly have unsold stocks of poor quality grains left. So it is common to find that shops are selling very poor quality grains. That means what the government is supplying is poor quality, or maybe the shopkeeper is cheating. The good quality they are hiding somewhere or selling to somebody else and bringing the poor quality and selling in the ration shops. So all that the government offices have to check. Then this has proved to be a big problem. So this problem of corruption, malpractice, all that is a very big problem. And when ration shops are unable to sell, a massive stock of food grains piles up with the FCI. So when the people are not buying from the ration shops, then what happens? The things are not getting over in the ration shops. If it is not over, they cannot go and collect it from the FCI, go down again. Then the thing will continue to remain in the FCI, go down, and that food grain may get spoiled, get rotten, and may be eaten by rats and so on. So that is another problem that they are facing. Then in recent years, there is another factor that has led to the decline of the PDS. And earlier, every family, poor and non-poor, had a ration card with a fixed quota of items such as rice, wheat, sugar, etc. And these were sold at the same low price to every family. And the 3 types of cards and the range of prices that you see today did not exist. So we said earlier, when the government introduced PDS system, it was meant for poor and non-poor. Everybody could come and buy from the ration shop for the same rate. There was no price difference. The poor people also had to pay the same rate, and those who are not poor also they had to pay the same rate. But now government has made a difference, that RPDS, TPDS and so on. So government has introduced a better method, so that the rich people, if they are coming and buying, they have to pay a little higher. The poor people, they have to pay a little low and so on. So there are three types of cards are there. According to their financial condition, the cards are given there. Earlier we said the example of Ahmad, who is driving cycle rickshaw in Bangalore. He had an yellow card. So like that, three different cards are there. And a large number of families could buy food grains from ration shop subject to fixed quota. So every members of the family, they could go and buy the food grains that was meant for them. Then these included low income families whose incomes were marginally higher than the below poverty line families. So there were many families are there. Some are very poor and some are what to do? Some have got little better income. Some are having very low income, some are having little better income and so on. Now TPDs of three different prices. Any family above the poverty line gets very little discount in the ration shops. And the price for APL family is almost as high as open market price. And so there is little incentive for them to buy these things from the ration shop. So after introducing these three cards or three partitions, people who are very poor, people who are little more better, and people who are well-to-do. So people who are very poor, for them it is advantage to go and buy things from PDS shop because they get it very cheaper rate. But people who are above poverty line, APL, they don't get much discount, they get very little. And therefore when they compare the market price and the price in the PDS shop, they see there is no much difference. Then why to go up to this PDS shop? Let us buy from the market that is nearby. So they calculate that way and they go and buy from the market and they don't go up to the PDS shop. That is a situation that is taking place. So these are the problems that they are facing. So government need to do some more improvement in this situation in order to help the poor people to buy the food grains. Otherwise the food grains will continue to remain in the FC and go down, and it will get rotten and it will be of great loss to the government. Now let's see the cooperatives. What can the cooperatives do in order to make the food security available for the people? So cooperatives. So cooperatives means societies. What the societies can do, different groups of people can do. So the cooperatives are also playing an important role in food security in India, especially in the southern and the western parts of the country. So these cooperatives are very active in the southern part of the country and also in the western part of India. And the cooperative societies set up shops to sell low price goods for poor people. So they will set up society so that people can go and buy things from there with a very low price. And for example, out of all fair price shops running in Tamil Nadu, around 94% are being run by the cooperatives. So we can see in Tamil Nadu there are so much of fair price shops are there, but 94% is managed by cooperatives. So we can see 94%. Just only 6% is left for the government and so on. So cooperatives are doing very well there. Then in Delhi, Mother Dairy is making strides in provision of milk and vegetables to the consumers at controlled rate decided by government of Delhi. So in Delhi, another system is there. There is a dairy, there is a cooperative called Mother Dairy. And what are they doing? They are provision of milk and vegetables to the consumers at the controlled rate. So they will sell to the people milk as well as vegetables at a rate that is fixed by the government. So the government will decide how much should be the rate. So it is not meant for profit, but they are working in collaboration with the government to help the poor people. Then Amul is another success story of cooperatives in milk and milk products in Gujarat. So in Gujarat there is another cooperative society which is called Amul, and they are selling milk and other things that are produced by the from milk, that is sold to the poor people at a very low interest, low rate. Then it has brought about the white revolution in the country. And these are the few examples of many more cooperatives running in different parts of the country, ensuring food security of different sections of society. So these Amul cooperatives in Gujarat, they have become very successful in supplying milk items to different people, milk and milk products to different people at a low rate, and that has become, we can call it, white revolution. So early when agriculture was successful, we called it green revolution because agriculture looks green in color, the leaves are green. Here it was increase of milk by using better methods of insemination, by bringing high breed of cows, they are able to get high amount of milk, and that way the shortage of milk was solved and there was availability of plenty of milk to give to the poor people so that their health will be improved. So that is called white revolution, that was started in Gujarat. So in different parts of the country, these different cooperatives did their work, and therefore the food insecurity was solved to a great extent. It was removed from the society. Then similarly in Maharashtra, Academy of Development Sciences (ADS) has facilitated a network of NGOs for setting up grain banks in different regions. So another cooperative is in Maharashtra. What are they doing? They are collecting grains and they are keeping it in the bank. You have heard about blood bank, isn't it? So people can donate blood to this blood bank so that sick people, when they are in need of blood, they can take from this blood bank. The same way here they are starting grain bank. So people can buy grain from this storeroom or from this grain bank. So ADS organizes training and capacity building programs on food security for NGOs. So they also call the people NGOs, non-governmental organizations, and give them training program and tell them how to manage the food security program, how to advise the people, how to teach the people about maintaining or managing the food programs. Then grain banks are now slowly taking shape in different parts of Maharashtra. So because of their effort, now in many parts of Maharashtra state there are food banks available. And ADS supposed to set up grain banks to facilitate replication through other NGOs and to influence the government's policy on food security, are thus paying rich dividends. So because of their continuous effort teaching to the NGOs or trying to influence the government policies, trying to advise the government how to make policy, what policy to make, all that. So because of their hard work and decision, we can say all over Maharashtra the food grains or the food banks are set up and people are able to overcome that food insecurity and able to get food for themselves. And the ADS Grain Bank program is acknowledged as a successful and innovative food security intervention. So this program is considered as a very successful program. Because of this program, many people are able to get the food for them. They don't need to do the starving, they don't need to go hungry and so on. Now let us see the last part of this lesson, that is the summary. All that what we have studied so far, let us summarize it again and just let's just go through it. So food security of a nation is ensured if all of its citizens have enough nutritious food available, all persons have the capacity to buy food of acceptable quality, and there is no barrier on access to food. So we can underline, when can we say that a country has achieved food security? First of all, every person should have enough nutritious food available. Not just having enough food, but enough nutritious food. Then secondly, they should have the capacity to buy food acceptable quality. They should be able to buy food that is required for them, sufficient quality, and there is no barrier on access to food. So there should be no barrier, that is, nothing should block them from buying food. So when all these things are available, we can really say that we are food secure people. Then the people living below poverty line might be food insecure all the time, while better off people might also turn food insecure due to calamity of disaster. So sometimes we say people who are very poor, people who are living below poverty line, they may be always under that fear of food insecurity. They may whole year, like we said, chronic hunger. They may experience chronic hunger throughout the year. People who are very poor, sickly, and so on. But even people who are rich, they also can face food insecurity when there is natural calamity, flood, drought, and so on. That is also possible, but it happens very rarely. Then, although the large section of people suffer from food and nutrition insecurity in India, the worst affected groups are landless or land poor households in rural areas and the people employed in ill paid occupations and casual laborers engaged in seasonal activities in urban areas. So we said many poor people throughout the country are facing food insecurity, but there are also other people who do not have proper job or people who don't have regular job. They are also facing food insecurity. Then people who are landless, people who have no land to cultivate, they can also face food insecurity. Then people who are very backward, economically backward, they also can face problems. They can also face food insecurity in their lives. Then the food insecure people are disproportionately large in some regions of the country, such as economically backward states with high incidence of poverty, tribal and remote areas, regions more prone to natural disasters, and so on. And another thing that we said already is the food insecurity is not same everywhere. Throughout the country it is not same. Some states are more prone to food insecurity. States that are very backward, economically backward, and people who are prone to natural disasters and so on. So some states always getting cyclone, so their crops are getting spoiled, or always experiencing drought, or always experiencing flood. So when areas of this kind of natural calamity or disaster, those people are always prone to food insecurity. Their crops, everything can get spoiled and they will be suffering. So to ensure availability of food to all sections of the society, the Indian government carefully designed food insecurity system. In addition to PDS, various poverty alleviation programs were also started which comprise a component of food security. So because of all these serious problems in India, the government took action and started PDS, and apart from this PDS, government also started Antyodaya Anna Yojana, then also Annapurna scheme and so on, in order to help the poor people, to target to certain special groups. Government identifies which are the people suffering from this food insecurity. So in order to help them to come up the level with others, government is introducing these new schemes, new programs, so that everyone will have food to eat and nobody will go hungry, nobody will suffer from any sort of hunger. And so programs like Child Development Scheme services, Food for Work program, and midday meals, Antyodaya Anna Yojana. So all these are programs government started in order to help certain targeted group of people. So child development services, that is to help the children especially who are below 5 years, to give them nutritious food. And Then food forward program in the rural area, people who had no work, therefore they had no food, so government called them to come and work and we will give you food. All that programs were initiated in order to help these poor people. Then, so in addition to the role of the government in ensuring food security, there are various cooperatives and NGOs also working intensively towards this direction. So in order to help the government in providing food security to the people, there are also several NGOs working. There are also cooperative societies are working to help the government in order to move in the right direction, in order to help the people more and more and bring the food security to all the people in our country. So that is how our country has progressed in this area of eradicating the food insecurity, for removing the food insecurity and making sure that every section in the country, the poor people in the rural area or in the urban area, or the old retired people, the children, the mothers, everyone is provided, everyone is taken care to provide food security. Only that there is some areas, some offices are not sincere, they are doing a lot of corruption, and because of that some people are suffering. So government need to check and make sure that all these programs are going on in the right direction, and make sure the facility is available to every people, especially the poor people, and they are no more made to experience hunger in their life. That is what we can do. And on our own part also, we can, if we find, or if we find there is some corruption, we need to report it to the government, to the authority, so that government can take action against them and bring justice to the society and make the poor people experience the goodness in their life, experience the food security in their life. So we come to the end of this our syllabus economics, and I expect you to study well, and I will be sending you the class notes soon, so study well and do well. Okay, so thank you for listening all these days. So bye, have a nice day.